Hello, everybody. Welcome to Albion Obsessed, episode number 8. We are here with, I think, the most guests we've had on an episode yet. So, yeah, you're gonna have to get used to the voices, guys. We'll introduce the guys that are with me today. Aaron was on our live stream. Say hello, Aaron.
Hello.
And we've got Tom as well, who I know is a listener of the podcast. And we've also got the return of Britishteahater Chloe on the podcast as well. So a great lineup. And we will be obviously talking about the disappointment that was yesterday, guys. Steven Gerrard's first Premier League game in charge.
Was it? I didn't know.
No, it's
Nobody's
not been reported
it,
anywhere.
No.
But yeah, I think it went very much according to plan. Is what the media have been building it up to be. But not so much for us. Chloe, you were at the game. So yeah, just talk us through your perspective of, because obviously it looked like a promising first half, but then it just dipped off again. So yeah, what was your perspective?
I feel like it was very finely balanced. The first half, we were dominating, but we weren't creating any chances or looking like scoring. But neither were they. But after the substitutions, they were stronger and we were considerably weaker. And I think the subs changed the games for both teams, and unfortunately ended in a loss for us.
Yeah, that's quite a fair reflection. I even myself watching it on, as Tom, you described before that we started recording a very dodgy stream that we have to try and find with 3:00 kickoffs. I found that exactly the same. Lamptey comes off. Funnily enough, a few minutes later, Villa break down our right hand side and score. So there's no surprises there. Tom, we haven't spoken to you yet this season. We normally ask 3 icebreaker questions, so we're going to start off with those.
Yeah.
What is the best Albion goal you've ever seen at the stadium?
Because I just a bit of background about me. I born and bred in Sussex, but then I moved up to the Midlands about 9 years ago. So I haven't been to the Amex anywhere near as much as I'd like to. But the best goal I've ever seen Albion score was against Nottingham Forest, when Leonardo Ulloa famously tucked that header away, and the away end just went absolutely mental, because it meant that we got into the playoffs that season. And it was to be in the away end then was just, it was mind blowing. It was just awesome. Best goal at the Amex, probably, I don't know who it was against. It might have actually been against Nottingham Forest as well. I think Luar scored an absolute screamer, as he does, cutting in off the left, right foot, bang. Classic backflip celebrations. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. Aaron, we actually didn't ask you these questions, but you touched on Ulloa, Tom, and we did a little segment in our live stream on Friday where we put together the ultimate Albion Amex 11, and Aaron actually spoke me into putting Ulloa in there over Bobby Zamora, which was crazy. Aaron, you got, as I said, mate, you've got away with words. But that moment you described at Forest, in that wonderful yellow strip, the away end going absolutely nuts. Oscar Garcia in absolute pandemonium. I don't think I ever saw him that animated. And never will be that animated ever again. Aaron, we didn't ask you these questions as well, so I'm going to throw that same question at you. The best goal you've seen for the Albion in a stadium?
Probably be the Andoni goal against Palace for me. I think that was completely different. I remember I was really ill that day as well, and I wasn't going to go. And my dad was like, "No, come on, we'll go." I was like, "I really don't fancy this." Playing Palace at home, just not fancying it at all. And then to be, see Andoni just suddenly burst down the left, thinking, "Hold on, he's keep going. He's going to get taken down at any moment," and never did. Unreal, absolutely unreal. Made me feel a hell of a lot better, that's for sure.
That 100% sticks out in my mind as one of the best I've seen for sure. Tom, the next question for you. Who is your favourite Albion player of all time?
This is a tough one. I think out of the current squad, I'm going to go for Dunkey, local lad. I've got a signed shirt from him, actually, just on the wall.
Oh, I love that.
But of all time, I've got a real soft spot for Calderon. I have a massive man crush on Inigo Calderon. Just like a lovable guy. He scores with his face. So I like Caldo. I love Caldo.
Yeah, what a selection that is. Aaron, same question to you.
I've got two. One being Bobby Zamora. Like I said on Friday, was at the West team for 9 years, and watching him play up top for us as an 18-year-old, banging in goals left, right, and centre was unbelievable. And the other one, Michel Kuipers for me. Just purely as a goalkeeper myself, it was as a young goalkeeper, I used to love watching him, and some of the saves he would make were just unreal. So for me, either Zamora or Kuipers for me.
Wonderful, perfect. And the next one, Tom, you mentioned your signed Dunkey shirt there. It is shirt related. What is your go-to Albion shirt on a match day?
Ooh, somewhat controversial, perhaps. I really like last season's home shirt, the all blue, white pinstripes, proper 80s throwback. I love that shirt. And I know it was a bit of a dividing one amongst the fan base. But that one, I've got three actually. That one, the first Amex shirt, the one that you're wearing, Joe, I think that's a thing of beauty. And the 99-2000 first Withdean one, because that was my first Brighton shirt.
Ah, decent. Yeah, they're very good shouts. Aaron, you were repping the Hyper Turk on the live stream the other day. What is your go-to Albion shirt?
Probably the very first red and black away kit we had. I think maybe back in 2004, I want to say. And probably the most recent one, like Tom said, the pinstripe one last year. That looks so smart. When we came out against Burnley with it, when we first wore it, last game of last season, I was like, damn, that is a hell of a nice kit. But I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's really decent. But to be fair, when I had the same reaction when we came against Man City last year with the shirt that Chloe's wearing. That was like, we're back to blue and white stripes, and this season's shirt for me is one of the best that we've had at the Amex for sure. Very simple, but extremely effective, and what a shirt to have for our 10-year anniversary as well. All very good shouts. Can't argue with any of them. But we'll get straight into talking about the game. Aaron, you obviously are very vocal about goalkeepers, and you're a goalkeeper yourself. So we'll start off with you, Chloe. Jason Steele's going to pop up right there for you. Just talk us through his first Premier League debut. Really, well, obviously it's going to be his first debut, but his first start.
You couldn't do much about either of the goals, to be honest. The Mings one was just a bit unfortunate for him, really. Obviously, Webster's got to clear the ball, and it just gone straight to Mings. He made one fantastic save at one point, coming out and make himself big to punch it away. Again, a solid display. Nothing he could do much about the goals. He'll be pretty pleased to obviously get his debut, and to have that performance will sort of build his confidence up, and also probably fans' confidence up as well a little bit. Thinking we've got a decent backup for Sanchez if anything does go wrong, if he gets injured or suspended again. At least we're not panicking, thinking, we've got someone who can't catch a ball or do anything really with it. So no, I was impressed. Done well. You should be proud.
Yeah, definitely. And Tom, was you on the side of the fans that were quite nervous going into this game with him in the sticks, or?
I think there's always a lot to be said about strength and depth, and I think obviously Steele has been a great servant to the club. He's played some of the League Cup games, and he's done well. I remember obviously against Newport, he made that howler at the right of the death. But no, I desperately wanted him to do well, and I was absolutely gutted for him that he didn't get the clean sheet, which on fair reflection, I think he deserved. But as Aaron said, I think he's proven that he's decent backup to Sanchez, and if something like that ever happened again, I have faith that he'd be able to fill in that role.
Yeah, for sure. And Chloe, obviously, you were at the game. Did he look quite comfortable? I saw a lot of fans saying that he looked quite comfortable with his feet.
Yeah. I was really impressed with him, to be honest. I didn't have very high expectations, perhaps unfairly. But yeah, I thought he looked really competent and made some really good saves, to be honest. And there wasn't really anything he could have done about either of the goals. Just unlucky not to get the clean sheet, really. So yeah, I was impressed.
I wonder how that's going to affect his confidence going forward. I would imagine Graham Potter's put his arm around him and said, you've done well enough. You've I'm trying to get the word out. Solidified your role within this team. Obviously, Sherpen is a little bit out of favour at the moment. Don't quite know what's going on with him. But I'm sure he'll be, putting his arm around him, as I say, and giving him that confidence that if that opportunity arises again, he is the man for the job. So, yeah, obviously, Aaron, do you feel like his confidence would have been tarnished by that at all?
Maybe a little. I think as a keeper, you can't, if the defence isn't obviously keep helping you out, then you're a bit stranded, really. The first goal especially, he should have been cut off a lot earlier. Than you sort of let the whole width of the pitch with no one going near him, and you can't justify that as a keeper. And the second goal, like I said, was just an unlucky clearance, and he's literally fell to Mings. To be fair, which was a tidy finish.
Yeah,
exactly
that. Sorry, Tom, go on.
I was just about to chip in and just mention about Ben Roberts, the goalkeeper coach. I think a lot about, I can't remember if it was for Sanchez. I think he ran onto the pitch at half time after Sanchez had made a mistake, put his arm around Sanchez, picked him up. So I think because we've got someone like Ben Roberts who's so experienced and he's obviously so good at what he does, I think that I'd like to think that Steele's confidence wouldn't be too battered after conceding two so late on yesterday. But I think that's a massive credit to the coaching team that we've got at the club.
Yeah, definitely. And Aaron, you mentioned Ben Roberts on the live stream as well.
Yes, yeah.
A huge acquisition that we had a good few years ago now. Came in with David Stockdale, did he not?
He did, yeah.
And improved him by a crazy amount. And we saw him go on to keep us in the run-in to get promoted, and he did get us promoted in the end. So amazing goalkeeper coach. We mentioned the first goal, obviously, that still didn't have much of a chance with it. Amazing finish by Watkins, to be fair, but the defense didn't do enough, and it actually broke from the right-hand side when this man came off. For the audio listeners, Tariq Lamptey has just popped up in front of Chloe. Sorry. As soon as he comes off, they break down the as I say, our right-hand side and score. So obviously that is a bit of a concern that we don't quite have the depth to, fill in for Tariq Lamptey when he does come off, or if, God forbid, he was to get injured again, Tom.
Yeah, I was quite surprised yesterday. Well, I think I wasn't so surprised that Lamptey came off. I was just surprised that Joel Veltman didn't come on. I think we needed Mopé on the pitch. I think no one could doubt that. We looked like a better side when Neil was playing, but I was really surprised that he didn't make a double switch or go to a back four and maybe put Webster on at right back. Perhaps, I don't know, because Gross, for all of his, he's a fantastic player, but he hasn't got the mobility to play in that fullback, wing-back position. So putting him out there against someone like Ollie Watkins, who's got pace for days, it was just asking for trouble, and trouble is what we got.
Yeah, exactly that. And was there any more of a perspective in the ground, Chloe, when obviously Lamptey did come off and the shape looked a bit weird? Like watching on TV, it looked like we went to a back four with Webster on the right, but I couldn't quite work that out.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit. I feel like the players that he brought on were like the right players, the players I thought we needed. But I don't get bringing Lamptey off because he was our best player basically for the game. I don't know if he's still carrying something and he wanted to protect him perhaps.
Yeah.
But we just didn't have anyone down that right hand side then, and it just left us open to attack, and we paid the price for it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like it should have been a Pascal Gross to come off for Malpay or Moda? Who would you have taken off in that situation?
Yeah, I feel one of the midfield four that we had on, probably I would have taken off. But obviously I don't know if Lamptey's not completely up to match fitness yet if he can't play 90 minutes. And he's trying to protect him, then obviously that's something that the coaching staff know that obviously we don't. But I did think the changes were a bit bizarre, but then I have thought they were bizarre before and then they've worked out. So
yeah, Graham Potter has a strange way of surprising us sometimes, but as you say, sometimes a little bit too predictable and doesn't quite work out the way we would hope. Going on to Neil Maupay, obviously a lot of fans talking about the false nine that Trossard's playing, and it worked against Liverpool. It worked against City for the last 20 minutes. Not quite working against the likes of Newcastle and Aston Villa. So do you feel like we need to see Neil Maupay come back into the side and start?
Yeah, I think he scored what, four in 9, and then suddenly he gets dropped. You're right, Joe. I think it did work against Liverpool. It did work against City, but I think yesterday was crying out for someone like Neil, because I don't care what any of his detractors say. We look like a better team when he plays, because even if he's not scoring, he's harrying, he's closing down, and he's just a little bugger. He's brilliant, and I feel much more confident when he's playing.
yeah.
So I don't know why he's not.
Yeah, completely agree. Aaron, what are your views? Should we be seeing Maupay come back in?
100%. 100%. He's our only natural finisher in the squad at the moment. Probably Welbeck in there as well, but obviously his injury record is not great. The false nine works against teams like City, like Liverpool. When you've got teams such as Newcastle who just sit back and don't really want to attack you, you need someone just to harry the defence, really push up on the centre half to make them make a mistake. And Tross has done fantastic this year. He looks a complete different player from last season. But he doesn't scream like a proven goal scorer just yet for me. He scored a lot of goals this year compared to last year, obviously. But it's more the fact he hasn't got that instinct, the fox in the box sort of instinct, which Maupay's got. And in games like that, you need a striker. You need a proven striker to be there and score the goals. It's frustrating because it's so simple to say it. You need a striker who can score goals, who can win you games. And if you're not playing a striker, we're not Man City, we can't just have a false nine and have the likes of De Bruyne just floating around. We haven't got that quality. So we need that striker without a shadow of a doubt. And Connolly's not good enough for me. Welbeck's obviously injury prone. And then I think as much as people slate him, give Locadia a go. Christ, we have no other options really at the moment. And maybe try something a bit different. It's a shame we're not in the League Cup or anything anymore. Obviously, give those guys some game time.
Yeah.
But even in the game time, like Connolly had against Leicester and against the other team, he hasn't done anything.
No.
So he needs to either go out on loan or just stay in the under-23s, in my opinion. Bit harsh, but unfortunately, I think that's the way it is.
I think a loan would probably help him not only with like his professional development as a footballer, but probably his personal development. I mean, you know, we hear all these stories. I'm not saying any of them are true, of course, but it probably help him mature a bit. But going back to the striker issue, yesterday we started with Lamptey and Cucurella, and you think, oh my God, this is what we've been waiting for. And they've got the quality to put the ball in the box, but then you've got no one in there. And that's what I noticed yesterday. No one was in the box, or you'd have maybe Trossard just kind of like sitting just on the edge. And you think, get in the box, you know, because I do think we need to score more goals from midfield. That's fair enough. But when you've got the quality of Lamptey and Cucurella bombing down the wings, if you've got no one in the box, you're not going to score, are you?
No, of course, no.
And it's crazy that we've got a 6'2" striker out on loan that we brought in, Abdullah Sima, get him in the side. Andy Zakiri was part of an Augsburg side that beat Bayern 2-1 the other day as well. So there's plenty of options there that we could have in the squad. But yeah, we could be saying in 2 years' time that was the best choice that we could have done and sent those players out on loan. They come back into the side and we're firing into Europe 2 seasons in a row. You know, the blue and white heart in me says that is definitely going to happen. But
of course,
how nice would that be? But Chloe, I'm going to throw you a question. Leandro Trossard, where his best position? What is his best position? Because we've seen him in multiple.
I mean, I think he worked as a false 9 against Liverpool, and I think against the bigger clubs, shall we say, I think that can work. But I do think, I don't know, I just feel the way we set up against Villa and against Newcastle, but especially against Villa, we had 4 central midfielders, and then you had Trossard, who was quite isolated at times. You had the wing backs putting balls in the box, but other than that, I just feel we packed the midfield too much, and then our midfielders don't score either. We've got 4 midfielders that we played, and none of them are really goal-scoring midfielders. It's bad enough when you've got 2 in there and they're not contributing goals at all. But when you've got 4, you really want your midfield to be contributing more goals. But yeah, Trossard, I'm not too sure. I think he worked well. He can work well as a false 9, but I also think when we had that front three of him, Welbeck and Maupay early on in the season, I think that worked well as well. But obviously with Welbeck out injured, I would really like to see us either bring back someone in loan or sign someone in January who is a Welbeck sort of player. But, obviously, I don't know what the club has planned for that. But I think, I like a front three. I like good old fashioned front three because it's probably the best way to get goals, and I think that's what we're lacking at the moment, or it is what we're lacking at the moment.
Yeah, I'd completely agree. And you mentioned the January transfer window, probably one of the hardest windows to sign an attacking player for sure. It's just a shame that our problems aren't, well, not a shame, but if our problems were at the back, that might be a little bit easier to fix. But it seems the age-old question between Brighton fans is, when are we going to get that striker who can bag us 15 goals? We haven't had that since Glenn Murray. And I know that he was 68 when he left us. But I still think maybe he could have done the job for maybe one more season. But he mentioned on Football Focus yesterday his body let him down, and it's fair enough. He is getting old, to be fair. But
I still think Maupay could get a decent amount of goals. I mean, I don't know if 15 is a reasonable target, but I don't see any reason he can't be hitting 10.
He needs someone to play alongside. I think if 100%. He's got a strike partner to play alongside, I agree with Chloe. I think we look better going forward when we've got Welbeck, Maupay, and Trossard. And I think when that front three is firing on all cylinders, I think we're a really dangerous side. But it's amazing how, with Welbeck being injured, and then whatever the reason Mopé's not playing, we just don't look fluent in attack. We look a bit toothless up top. So yeah, it'll be interesting, as you say, Joe, to see what happens in January, if anything.
The difference between where we want to be and where we will probably end up, though, is the fact that one of those three gets injured, you're done.
Yep.
It's been like that for the last couple of years, though. Yeah. It's been like that. If one of our strikers do get injured, then it's all about, oh, okay, then who else can we replace them with? And like you said, January is always an awful time to sign players. Teams are going to up their prices straight away because they know you're looking for a Z person, a striker or a winger or whatever. And it can be a lot of panic buying. I mean, the one name I've got in the top of my head who I think we probably should possibly bring in is probably, if we're bringing back, is Lingard for me. I mean, last year the loan worked really well for him at West Ham. And then at least it's given us a little bit more of an attacking threat going forward, a tiny bit. Obviously not an out-and-out striker, but then at least it'll give Trossard and if more of a go a bit further forward. You've got Lingard in behind you, and like if Welbeck does get injured, if you've got Maupay, you can have a strike partnership with Trossard, and then Lingard playing just behind them too.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like our advantage. Yeah, our advantage with that is obviously the Dan Ashworth links to England, right? Probably worked with Lingard at some point in his career. But the issue would be, obviously, he's got links to West Ham. Had a great time there. West Ham are in Europe. They're flying this season. I know they lost. Did they lose yesterday? I think they lost 1-0. Yeah. But still, they've had a really great start, and I think that's a project Lingard would much prefer over us. But as Chloe said, it would be a dream, and it would be great to have him back. Obviously, he spent, was it half a season on loan with us or a full season?
Yeah.
One of the
half,
two. Yeah. Obviously, that's back when he was, 19, 20?
Yeah, he did a loan spell in at Birmingham, I think, for the first half of the season, and he absolutely tore the championship up. And then we obviously came to us, and we were like, yes. And he did all right, didn't he? He was decent for us.
Yeah, he gave us a good option, definitely. I remember him scoring in the playoffs against Derby, and we thought we would maybe get to Wembley, and then they absolutely hammered us in the second leg. So, but as I said to Aaron on the live stream, yeah, we won't talk about
PTSD just think about it.
But it's just going back to the striker situation. It's funny because obviously we mentioned the injury to Welbeck. The last game he played was Leicester, and we haven't won since.
Yeah.
So there's where it's gone wrong. And I've been saying it on social media for the last couple of games that last season for me is creeping back in. By Christmas, we could be really looking over our shoulders and thinking we're going back to where we were last season. But we've got a huge game coming up at the Amex. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'm going on holiday. Much needed, I've got to say. But fingers crossed the home advantage can somewhat spur us on with obviously Robert Sanchez coming back in. Leeds haven't been incredible this season. We've done the double over them last year. So we'll just have a quick preview of that game. Chloe, predictions, and do you think Maupay will make a return to the Amex?
Oh, I really hope so. I hope so. I can't see how you can not start him now because I think it's obvious that we're so much better in attack when he plays, even if he hasn't got a partner. But I mean, you look at Leeds as a game that you would hope to get a result from. No disrespect to them, but then they do have some players that can hurt us. They've got some quite good. I know Rafinha is very good.
Yeah.
And that he's pacey as well, and that is obviously, as we've seen before, an area where we can get done. But, I would hope that we would win that, and I would I think we need a win. I think and I think that is sort of the perfect fixture that you think, okay, let's go out, let's actually just get a result of this one because we need it. We need it, and I think it could spur us on going forward as well.
Definitely, I'm going to push you for a score line.
3-1.
Oh, that's decent. And who's going to score the goals? I imagine you're going to say a Neil Maupay hat trick, but
I'll go Maupay brace, and I'll go Lamptey. I'd like to see him get a goal.
There you go. I think that would be his first goal at the Amex as well. So, yeah, I'm rooting for that. Yeah, we can go with that. Aaron, are you confident going into next week or shitting yourself a bit?
Leeds is always a weird one.
Mm.
They can either be fantastic or awful. There's no really in between. Admittedly, this year they've mainly been awful, hence why they're sort of down the bottom. But you just don't know what's. Yeah, you just don't know what team are going to come out for. Don't know what team Brighton are going to turn up is. No, we said this on Friday. If a good team turned up at Villa Park, we could have got something. We've done okay first half, second half, made changes, it went downhill. Same against Newcastle, we made changes in the second half. Performance dropped, it went flat. It all does depend on what sort of Albion teams turn up. I think it's going to be it's not really a must win just yet. It's still early doors in the season, but we need to get a win. We need to get confidence back, and 3 points on the board is what we need. And to end this run on God knows how many draws we've had in the last sort of 8 games, it's just mad. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton. Maupay will get one if he starts. Maupay definitely will get one. And I fancy a Dunk or Duffy header from a set piece. They're quite a short team. So yeah, good ball get set piece specialists on the ball like Grote, and who knows what could happen. But definitely. I feel Leeds will score mainly because, like Chloe said, Rafinha is absolutely rapid and is hell of a talent when he's on form. They've got good players all round, really. But yeah, he will cause us problems without a doubt. But 2-1 Albion, 3 points at the Amex. Happy days. Another 5:30 kickoff as well. Joy.
Yeah, lovely. Live on Sky Sports. I'm sure I'll find somewhere to watch it. And lastly, Tom, what are we thinking?
I think, as you said, Aaron, I think like Leeds are obviously not doing as well as they'd perhaps like, especially after how well they did last season. And if I was that team, I'd want to be playing Brighton next, if I'm honest. And then that sounds really pessimistic and really defeatist, but I joked with some of the Villa fans at work. You know, the Villa they'd lost 5 in a row, new manager, don't know what's going to happen. And I said to them, you know, the team you want to play next is Brighton. We have a habit of playing teams that haven't won in a while or a bit down their luck, and then they play us and then they get a result. So call me a pessimist, but I'd be happy just to grind out a 1-0 win. Maupay on the score sheet because he always scores against Leeds. I'd be happy with just a 1-0 win, get our confidence back, and get a bit of belief back in the side. So I'm gonna go with 1-0.
Yeah, we'll take that. And if we can repeat that Neil Maupay team goal that we scored at Ellen Road last year,
that was unreal.
I will be very happy with that. Extremely happy. I'm going to ask you guys probably quite an obvious question. I'll put my teeth back in. But yeah, I'm interested to see what your responses will be. If you can bring one Albion player that's played for us, whatever year, whatever season, doesn't matter who. If you could bring one player back in their prime into this specific team, who would it be, Chloe?
Wow, that is a difficult question. I'm probably limited to the sort of last 10 years or so because that's all I really remember. So I'm just going to say, disclaimer, I don't obviously remember the likes of Peter Ward because I wasn't alive then. But I would definitely say as well a striker, as obviously we've highlighted. I think Murray in his prime would be a great addition to this team.
Yeah,
I know that's a bit of an obvious answer, but yeah.
No, absolutely not. We win the league with that. So yeah, I'll happily take that. Aaron.
Yeah, obviously it will have to be a striker. In his prime, for me, Zamora, I think he was getting absolute hatful in this team. He did anyway, to be fair, but I think he would be the 15-goal striker we are missing at the moment, 100%, without a doubt.
Definitely. And Tom, do you agree with either Chloe or Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Zamora, because he was just something else. But I think if we're talking genuine prime, I'm going to go a bit left field and say Vicente. I think when we signed him in the Championship, that was like a full-on, oh my God, we've signed Vicente. If we had him in his prime, I think, we talk about creating chances from midfield. Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Three incredible choices. Somebody has to win this vote. So I'm going to team up and say Glenn Murray as well, because I feel like he would be a 20-goal striker in this team, for sure. With the creativity behind him, I'd love to see it. I absolutely would. Glenn Murray, get your boots on, my friend. You're coming to the Amex next week. Thanks for coming on, guys. Obviously, Chloe, your second appearance on here. Aaron, your second one as well.
Yes,
obviously, I know the other one wasn't a podcast, but great to have you back on. And Tom, thanks for coming on, my friend. It's been great to chat to you. Obviously, if you want to come back on, just let me know.
Always happy to chat Albion. I don't get to talk about it much living in the Midlands.
No one wants to talk about it.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're always welcome on, my friend.
Cheers.
Chloe, thank you obviously for your second appearance. And you're also always welcome on. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully 3 points next week. And we'll chat to you all soon. Up the Albion, and take care. Bye bye.